Mr. March, we're gonna play a game.
I think you have the wrong house.
It's called Shut Up Unless You're Me.
Hindsight is, by definition, too late. An understanding that wasn't grasped in the moment, and only through the vantage of time do we get an idea of what we missed. In the case of The Nice Guys, a wunderkind writer, an Oscar-winning dramatic actor, and a former child actor turned beloved Hollywood star gifted us a world we desperately want to return. And while all the major players want the same thing, why has it taken so long?
You're in the pool?
Yeah,
Why?
I had to question the mermaids. What were you doing while I was working?
Before things get too far, make sure you're subscribed in order to stay up to date on all our latest videos. Released in 2016, The Nice Guys was a spiritual follow-up to writer-director Shane Black's 2005 Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. At just 22 years old, Black had sold his first screenplay, Lethal Weapon, in 1986 for $250,000. He then continued a hot streak of action films throughout the next 10 years with scripts for The Last Boy Scout and Last Action Hero, among others. After his career-high $4 million screenplay for The Long Kiss Goodnight bombed in theaters in 1994, it would be 10 years before he returned with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. In an interview with GQ, Black said, "I had essentially slid off the map from the time, say, that Long Kiss Goodnight sold for an exorbitant amount of money up until Kiss Kiss Bang Bang." With Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, though, there was a perfection in the idiosyncrasies that Black had established in his previous works. Morally ambiguous heroes, razor-sharp humor,
Peed on the corpse, can they do like ID from that?
I'm sorry, you peed
On
on
the corpse, and my question is...
No, my question, I get to go first. Why in perfect hell would you pee on a corpse?
and action that ushered the story along versus merely being a set piece.
Oh, cool. It stopped the bullet, Harry.
No, not really.
Part of that was Black settling into the wider net of pulp noir, a landscape built around those ideas. Very loosely based on Brett Halliday's Bodies Are Where You Find Them, Black's return would focus on small character stakes. Changing the name to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was a self-deprecating joke unto itself. Originally taken from a letter Ian Fleming of James Bond fame wrote to his friend and novelist Raymond Chandler, Fleming said of their respective work, Chandler's novels were sociological studies. His were pillow fantasies of the bang bang kiss kiss variety. The film benefited from this more lighthearted approach thanks in part to its stellar cast in Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, and Michelle Monaghan. That aptitude for casting carried on to The Nice Guys, a story about two off-kilter detectives who get wrapped up in a missing persons case.
I'm not buying this nice guy act, pal. She owes you money, doesn't she? You coming to collect?
Black had made a career in charismatic duos, from Glover and Gibson to Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. In order for a movie like The Nice Guys to work, one with so many contrasting moments of action, dark humor, slapstick comedy, and drama, the players have to be good. Luckily, Black gave us two great players in Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. More often than not, casting relies on familiarity. If you've seen Jason Statham scowl and march doggedly toward a bad guy 10 times, you more than likely know what you're going to get on the 11th time. But some actors are so talented, they transcend their background. Russell Crowe is not a brilliant dramatic actor. He's just a brilliant actor.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Audiences had gotten to know the actor thanks to dramatic turns in LA Confidential and Gladiator. Black stated in that same GQ article that Crowe only accepted the role due to Gosling having already signed on. Since The Nice Guys, though, he has gone full scenery chomping camp as Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder, the lead in The Pope's Exorcist, or as Dr. Jekyll in the failed Dark Universe revamp of The Mummy. While some of these are obviously misses, it's genuinely endearing to see him take the swings. He's an actor who could comfortably rest on his laurels in an Oscar bait film, but it's just as wonderful to watch him sing off pitch but revel in the effort. Part of Russell's success in The Nice Guys is the company he is keeping, both in writer-director Black and co-star Ryan Gosling. Gosling had gotten his start on Disney's The Mickey Mouse Club, but quickly evolved from a pretty face heartthrob in The Notebook to uncomfortable eye contact in Drive. Gosling took a less traveled, but not completely untrodden path by taking weird roles. Actors like Daniel Radcliffe, who starred in the stage version of Equus, or a corpse with farting powers in Swiss Army Man, or Macaulay Culkin taking a role in New York Scene Kid film Party Monster. While sometimes this can come across as a shallow attempt to shed a cultural preconception, it is often just an actor who wants to spread their wings. With Gosling, this is clearly a guy who just likes what he likes and seems indifferent to whether the audience follows him along. And that attitude is kind of magnetic, especially when backed up with such a large amount of talent.
How stupid do you think I am? I got a license to carry one. Ever since your little visit the other day, this little baby's gonna stay right here.
In an article for Film Comment, Gosling said of his inspirations, "As I get older, I'm just as much a Gene Wilder fan, or Buster Keaton, or Bill Murray, or Klaus Kinski, or Abbott and Costello. They all get me somewhere. They all do it differently." While Crowe has the more straight man character in Jackson Healy, Gosling takes the slapstick character in Holland March. When we first meet March, he's attempting to knock the glass out of a door so he can unlock it. Only Black subverts a notion we've seen hundreds of times and has March slice his forearm open on the broken glass. He falls to the ground as blood pours out of the wound and says,
That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of blood.
A moment like this is not only sold perfectly by Gosling's shocked expression, but also by Black's screenplay. There's an intent here to show us the consequences of tropes he helped define throughout the 80s and 90s, the real-world ramifications and consequences of heroic acts. Those consequences are easily ushered along by the level of ineptitude in Black's leads. And that ties back into Black falling into the pulp noir idea of a knight in dirty armor. Healy and March are both very flawed characters. Healy is a private detective whose case-solving trump card is just breaking arms.
No! No! Deep breath.
While March is an alcoholic, single dad, con man who somehow seems more intoxicated when he's not drinking. Black has said of archetypes, "I love the notion of the feckless sort of knight in tarnished armor who would love to fill the shoes of the legendary hero, but just can't. Part of the joy of the nice guys is watching them try." When Black first conceived the idea in the early 2000s, he intended for it to be a television series set in the modern day. After pitching it around with no interest, his producer on Lethal Weapon and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Joel Silver, suggested to make it a period piece. While an obvious time for a noir story would be the tried and true post-World War II New York, Black opted for California in the 70s, which isn't entirely out of left field, as writers like Raymond Chandler and Ross MacDonald set many of their stories in the wilds of the bustling state. Unfortunately, The Nice Guys sat on the shelf for almost 15 years. It wasn't until Downey Jr. brought Black to work on Iron Man 3 that the movie was greenlit. Despite a warm critical response and a fervent response from those who saw it, the film underperformed in theaters, partly due to IP-hungry public or just the idea of selling a small-stakes dark comedy noir. And that's a shame, as it's just not the type of movie you see made anymore. Small-stakes character stories that zig and zag across genres with actors at the top of their game. Perhaps fortunately for all of us fans, everyone involved wants to return. Black, Crowe, and Gosling have all gone on record in various interviews saying they'd love to return, with Crowe even saying he and Gosling had an idea together. Gosling's trajectory has only risen since the movie's release, most recently receiving a ton of critical acclaim for his role in Greta Gerwig's Barbie as the happily clueless Ken.
Excuse me, sir, do you have the time?
You respect me.
Sorry, no, do you know what time it is?
It's clear The Nice Guys wasn't a one-off fluke. While Gosling had acted in some comedies before, like Lars and the Real Girl or Crazy Stupid Love, those were more situational, awkward comedies. Whereas in The Nice Guys and Barbie, he's flat-out comic gold.
If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
Which isn't necessarily surprising given comedies leaning on timing. A lot of talk has already occurred about the connection between horror and comedy, evident in Jordan Peele's filmography post Key and Peele, or the Whitest Kids You Know alum Zach Kreger's recent hit Barbarian. But drama shares a lot of the same timing. How long you hold a gaze, how rushed your breathing or cadence is. It's all using your body to convey a moment, be it tense, comedic, or terrified. And those are all feelings we'd love to see return to the big screen in one film. The Nice Guys was made not as a movie that melds X and Y, but one that took the entire alphabet and made a stellar and singular film for people that just like great stories. So what do you think? Who are some other traditionally dramatic actors who turned in genius comedic roles later in their career? Let us know down in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.